Welcome everybody to episode 3 of Bassin Biology. I'm your host, Thad Moody. If you're wondering why I'm not in my my robe and cape today, it's because it's 100-something degrees out here in Mississippi and we're at the lake for our tournament. Today with me I've got Charlie Sanders. He's coming off a hot win at the native tournament Big Bass Power Hour in Gunnersville.
All right.
I got Mr. Russell Rutledge, who has taught me an absolute ton about kayak fishing when I first got started. I got Mr. Jason Blue, who's also taught me a ton about kayak fishing, just over talking and learning and watching him fish. So today it's just going to be kind of a chill episode. We're going to do some covering of Lake Lamar Bruce, which is known as the big bass producer in North Mississippi, and just kind of talk about fishing. It's kind of a chill episode today. All right. So we had talked earlier, y'all wondered why this lake produces such big bass.
That would be a question for the wildlife biologist to answer.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to tell y'all, and it may give y'all a little hint for tomorrow. So Lake Lamar Bruce, Lake Monroe, and Davis Lake all have what's known as the Gulf species of walleye. It is a species of walleye native to Mississippi. It's federally protected, federally endangered. In fact, someone just got extradited to Texas for poaching them at one of the lakes. Feds take it very seriously.
Wait a minute, they poached them in Mississippi and they extradited them to Texas?
They sure did.
Wait a minute now.
That's what the lake manager told me now. He they dump millions into this program, both state and federal.
Right.
So the reason these lakes are so big is they pump tons and tons and tons of threadfin shad into these walleye lakes, which in turn produces monster bass. Now Lake Monroe, which is just south of here, I've caught 3 over 24, but I've also caught a 28-inch walleye. So it's got good fish.
Yeah.
And that's why they're pumped so full. And that's why you see here, my understanding, you'll see them tiny, tiny baits. Threadfin shad.
Yeah.
There are gizzards. They're few and far between in this one. But
okay. Well, that explains it, because where I generally fish back in one of the big pockets, you go back there and the shad, I've never seen that many shad in a lake before. It's literally like the lake is carpeted with them, just boiling when they start going back there. It's like,
you'll see it'll look like salt water out here with the bass boiling.
Yeah, it looks like tuna going crazy.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's what I like to fish. Hopefully mid-morning tomorrow back there, those bass will start ganging up on the shad.
100%, yeah. And that's what I'm hoping and where I'm going to start off, because so threadfin shad will they will overnight in the backs of coves. That's where they'll retreat to. The way the wind blowing right now, as long as this wind keeps open, I may switch where I'm fishing more because it's pushing all that way. But we'll see. There's also a lot of bluegill in this lake. It's a bluegill heavy lake. These are very meticulously managed. They're heavily pressured, but meticulously managed lakes. And that's why they produce such big fish.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised. You'll probably agree. You fish a lot of these lakes with me.
Yeah, they like Monroe, Davis, all three of them have crazy big and healthy fish. Like Davis Lake, for example, my dad got a 20 and a half inch fish, and it weighed 8.1.
Oh.
It was one of the fattest fish, like double the size of a normal 20-inch fish. It was crazy.
I used to date a girl like that, short, but
yeah, they were eating like crazy that day, and it was quite a day.
And you'll watch us like, I'm trying to turn the cell phone off. You'll watch us like pop over and look right there, because we're seeing 5 and 6 and 7 pounders just
cruising the bank.
Yeah, we can see them.
Full of water.
Well, what was it, 2 years ago down here with WTBY West Tennessee Bass Yakers that we fished with? It was an early season tournament. If I remember correctly, I know it still holds a record for the most fish over 20 inches.
Oh yeah,
it was over like 20-something fish over 20 inches with maybe 34 people fishing. It was phenomenal.
It was. I had a 20 plus. I had 2 20s in that one, and I think it took 67 to win. Maybe?
I think Ron Jr. won it.
Yeah,
it seemed like 67 on 3 fish won it.
Yeah, and the year before that we had a 5 fish tournament, and At the end, I was trying to cull a 19. I had 106 inches for 5, which is,
Yeah.
I'm still chasing that high for a single day tournament
Yeah,
to this day.
You break 100, or you're doing phenomenal.
With 5 fish
Sure.
limit, it's very doable here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
It just, this lake just produces, and it's small. So this is a
300 acres in it.
Yeah, just a hair over 300 right now with the water. But the thing is, it's heavily pressured. It's got 2, sometimes 3 bass tournaments a week. It's a 2 days a week you can actually go throttle on this lake. Other than that, it's trolling speed only, which makes it a fantastic kayak lake to go fish. There's not a lot of, there's another big one right there. There's not a bunch of pleasure boaters on this lake. But there are some people who live on this lake, and there are locals who really, I very much believe that this is a public body of water. It belongs to everybody. Like me, you, that person over there, the person who doesn't even fish. This lake belongs to them. That's the public. That's public land. I want to keep public. And there is one gentleman in this area who does not like us kayakers here. I believe he kicked in mine and your trailer lights. It was your trailer. I was pulling it. He kicked in the trailer lights because we were parked in his spot.
Oh, you mean in the parking lot?
Yeah, in the parking lot. And I even got up and moved my vehicle. I got out of the water, moved my vehicle, and he still kicked in the trailer lights.
Well, a guy like that's got other issues that go far beyond fishing or worried about somebody in his spot, isn't it? You know?
Well, he did some
Feel
donuts.
sorry for him.
He did some donuts around me and cut in front of a few other people. We caught fish in front of him though, and then his trolling motor broke and his trolling motor got stuck down, and he was trying to fix it, and he hit against the rocks and cracked the hull of his boat. So it was kind of a karmic situation. I don't wish bad on anybody, but he had to leave early for their bass tournament that day, when I was okay with that. Because, we're in kayaks. We're in Tupperwares, as some people call us. We're the Tupperware fishermen. So a big, 18, 20-foot bass cat comes through. And don't get me wrong, I'm going to catch flack for this as a kayak fisherman. I used to fish bass boat tournaments. 99% of bass boat fishermen are extremely respectable and kind.
They are.
And if you need help, they will help you out in a heartbeat.
Yep.
Same with kayak fishermen.
One percenters.
That 1%ers.
And bass boat guys, in my experience, I started doing kayak tournaments in 2016, and there has been a real improvement in the attitude and how the bass boat fishermen treat kayakers. I believe in the beginning they didn't really take us seriously. We were just out there in a cheap boat, but they've seen the commitment that a lot of people make to kayak fish, and I think for the most part they respect that. And I also think they're aware of the fact that on any given Sunday, there's probably a kayak fisherman that might just beat them.
Oh yeah. And let's speak on this a little bit. This is my opinion, Jason. I'm gonna turn it over to you after this. I believe, because I fish both sides. I fish the bass boat tournaments, and I fish the kayak tournaments, and I fish on big lakes, Lake of the Ozarks, Cato, Guntersville, Dale Hollow, big lakes, Enid. And we don't have the range, we don't have the accessibility, we don't have the speed they do. Or the ability to carry as much gear, rods, and reels as they do, or tackle. I believe if you can become an extremely proficient kayak fisherman, it turns you into a much better fisherman than a boat fisherman who can go this entire lake,
right?
Or they'll make a 70-mile run, like Dustin Connell did at Red Crest to go up to the. We can't do that. I believe.
What's the max you'll go as far as distance to a spot?
I've made a 3-mile run.
That's about as far as I've ever gone.
Yeah.
Well, on purpose.
Yeah.
I've had several episodes where at Guntersville where
you didn't realize it.
It's like I'm just going to go around that next point and check it out. And then I realized late in the day I'm a long ways from where I need to take out.
Yeah.
And it was a very, very, very. The guys I was with actually called me and asked me, they needed to come get me. I'm like, no, I'll make it, but.
What's your opinion on that, Jason?
I'll push about 5 to 7.
Really?
5 to 7? You don't have a motor.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've got a motor. You've got a motor.
Well, I'm actually talking about when I wasn't running a motor. This was strictly human power at that point. Now, I don't know. I might generally, my feelings are at this part of my fishing, I'm fishing for fun. My competitive urges have somewhat been, kind of tamped down. I just enjoy the experience of just sitting around with guys, visiting with people.
Yeah.
Seeing, and I've always enjoyed seeing other people do well.
Yeah.
I get, you see someone like Holly Cittadino.
Oh yeah,
She's
she's
only been kayak
fantastic.
fishing for what, maybe 2 years?
Yeah.
And now the girl is, whipping us,
Yeah.
the guys, and she's put a lot of time and effort into it, and it's fun to see somebody progress like that.
Oh yeah, like I said, you helped me. You've watched me from when I was in an actual paddle kayak versus a pedal and a motorized. And I'm this is my 5th year of competitive kayak fishing. I fish in small little stuff here and there.
Right.
Being a fisheries biologist and wildlife biologist, we always have the kayak with us go fun on our days off. But it's even at 33, I'm an older version of what's in the world today coming up and about. And what's coming up and about is Charlie here is 15, and again he's coming off a win at Gunnersville, 4th place. He beat he topped Fluke Mass, guys like Russ Snyder, who are fantastic human being. But 15-year-old came out there, put in 2 hard days of pre-fishing, did research on the lake, found good spots to go, learned a pattern, adjusted to the pattern after a weather change, and just absolutely crushed it. See a 15-year-old come out there and do it, the youngest ever cash a check, and I got to watch him do it. It was fantastic. And kind of souring because I drove him there and back because he can't drive yet.
Did he at least give you gas money?
No. After he won, and I drove him to this tournament too. So Charlie, tell us a little about your opinion on what's going on in the world.
Like with the kayak,
Well, not politically, with the fishing and kayaking,
with
man.
I was thinking of the distance thing. I think kayak fishing is really advancing and going a lot farther than most people thought it would go. Some people aren't quite, don't want it to go the direction of motors, fish finders, and all that. But I really like where it's going with Bassmaster and some of that. I think it can really bring it to another level in the next couple of years. And I really like how that's taken, that direction.
And it's funny because you mentioned the Bassmasters kayak series, and unfortunately, you fish in the KBF Championship, you fish the Big Bass Power Native stuff. You're not old enough to fish Bassmasters until after December when you turn 16.
Well, we better get our licks in while we can.
And that is, I feel like if we want young people into the sport, Bassmaster, everybody wants to fish it, and I feel like that the age restriction of 16, I think it can be lowered to 13 with a parent or guardian following them around, and
which is what I had to do with the power hour. I had to stay within eye distance of him at the power hour. I was his acting guardian in that situation, so I had to stay within eye distance and watch him catch fish over and over. When I was catching fish, but I wasn't catching fish like him.
And that, I feel like that really would let more people get into it earlier. And Hobie used to allow younger, but they swapped it to 16.
And now they're going.
That's interesting. Hopefully they'll make some kind of a effort to get back into it, but they missed the curve on motors.
Yeah,
that's real. They were very highly respected, and people loved fishing them. Quality people ran it, but their reluctance to keep up with the times, if you will, I really think that's in competition.
Yeah,
they kind of had the upper tier tournaments where would be strictly KBF, Chad Hoover, and Hobie for a while. That was it. Those are your only real choices. And of course, Drew Gregory had the Creek series for a while.
Yeah, and Hobie still does saltwater, but they started with saltwater kayak.
Right.
But they you know, it's and the saltwater series is, to my knowledge, really only southern U.S.
Right.
Because Francis Tran, who'll be here tomorrow fishing with us, he lives just down the road from me and Charlie. He just won the not too long ago the Hobie, the triple, the big saltwater slam with the speck, red and flounder maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and that kind of leads me to the next point. In any sport like this, fishing, you see it heavily in fishing. No offense to y'all, I'm gonna get that in a second. But with the older crowd, Russell, how old are you?
70.
70. Still out here fishing, loving life and embracing the youth, and that's what I'm fixing to get into. In our sport, and I'm not going to mention this YouTuber's name who hates live scope and any kind of changes. Y'all know who I'm talking about.
RB!
Yeah, but gatekeepers, they don't want change, they don't want too many kids out here, yada, yada, yada. They're gatekeepers. What they don't learn, and I see this as a fisheries biologist, when we see numbers drop in hunting and fishing license, we see them drop. Spike in 2020, it's back on the plane again. But gatekeepers, they don't want this next generation coming up. A lot say they do, but a lot really don't. And when I was, in my 20s, Russell, again, helped me a ton when I was just beginning my kayak fishing journey. And he's embraced guys like Charlie and the younger group, and so has Jason here. And of course, I've had to embrace it because I carried all these tournaments that I get beat at, which is, I got to change that soon. But
maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, let's hope.
That's the hope.
Yeah, historically,
there's always tomorrow.
Yeah, historically, I do really good on this lake. Fingers crossed, knock on wood.
Well, I think what I find interesting about fishing and golf also, which I also like, but each of those activities, each cast and each golf shot has the potential to be the best cast you ever made that caught the biggest fish you ever caught, or in golf, could be the best shot you ever hit.
Finally get that hole in one.
And you might make 100, who knows? How many casts you think we make in a tournament, an 8-hour tournament? Did anybody ever track it?
I did.
Out of curiosity?
After about 4 hours, I was,
just double that.
I stopped.
How many was it?
I was well over 200.
Okay.
And I was throwing an A-rig a lot that day too.
Oh, well.
And my whole shoulder was gone.
I've always thought somewhere between maybe 500 and 700 would probably be, depending on what technique you're using.
Yeah, finesse fishing, a whole lot less.
Yeah.
Power fishing, speed fishing like I do, a lot more.
Well, or you could do like Carl Hudson, the senior member of our group, who's basic paddle kayak, still comes out here and wins, no electronics. And Carl doesn't believe in making long casts.
Yeah.
I mean, he told me one time fishing a stump field with a buzzbait, I'm chunking it as far as I can throw it. He's like, "What are you doing that?" He's over there 25 feet, 30 feet. He's like, "You're not going to catch a fish that far away on a buzzbait. You can't set the hook on."
65-pound braid.
There's too much stuff in between you and that fish. He's going to get hung up.
And a stump field, yeah. Now I've caught fish on a frog out here in 30 feet of water,
yeah.
And same with the buzzbait. And just how deep was it when I was walking that spook at Gunnersville?
At Gunnersville, it was probably 12 foot with grass coming up.
Grass,
7.
Nice.
No, it was. I was in the center of that cove. It was about 20.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, with
when
grass,
I was walking that spook like that, it was blowing up on top. You make a long cast like that when you see him busting, but he does have a point. If you're in a stump field. You've seen it.
Yeah. It's I mean, I don't know how many you hit 5 feet from the boat.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Those scare you.
Panic.
Yeah.
Panic attack.
I think I've lost more fish that hit from me to you than I have from me to that point over there.
Yeah.
That's what's nice about the kayak is there's no noise, especially if you're not running the motor.
That's true.
I catch so many more fish right at the boat than ever riding in a bass boat.
And I'll pedal. I've got a pedal kayak. I'll pedal back and forth, moving around and hit some too, as opposed to my XI3.
I've even gone to turning my electronics off.
I started doing that some if I'm real shallow.
Yeah, if I come into these coves now, once I get to the point, my lights off, graph is off.
And excuse me for interrupting, but one of our people we fish with who's excellent with live scope told me recently, he said, once I get the fish located, he said, I turn it around away from them,
Yeah.
fishing. He said, they react to it now. He said, you'll hit them and you'll see them go to the bottom.
Yeah, I've seen that too, because I just recently, again, got active target too. And I was out here with one guy, and he turned his toward my boat. It's where I had it. I had the tip of my rod in the water, and I could hear the womp, 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 womp. I could hear it. I was like, I can hear that fish show can hear it.
Yeah.
I use mine to scan and see and find bait pods and stuff.
But why? Okay, you throw a buzz bait, the noisiest bait there is, and it doesn't sound like anything in a fish's natural environment, but yet they'll blow up on it. So the best of my knowledge and understanding is they will still look at it, and then the movement of the bait coming behind the trailer or the skirt and stuff looks like something. And that's when they blow up on it. Right.
In fact, I got an 8-inch Magnum spoon. Thing probably weighs it's as big as some of the bass we catch. And I was watching these balls of shad, and I was watching the bass up under them. And I would cast, and it'd plop and skip, and it'd sound like two bass blowing up on top. And all of a sudden, the fish went in that feeding frenzy and blew right up to the top and busted them shad. Now, Charlie, when you fish against guys like me and Russell and Jason and some of these other, even like Russ Snyders of the world, or the, Ron Butler Jr.'s of the world, who's a fantastic fisherman, who's going to be here tomorrow.
Tommy Brown.
Ashley Ott.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
Is Ashley using electronics now? I don't think he is.
No, he's still not.
I think he dabbled in them a little bit. Then
I think he uses them for water temperature. I think he does like a very basic. When you're fishing against guys like that who've had, heck, more time on the water than I've been alive, and for sure you've been alive, what's your mindset with that?
Well, a lot of these guys kind of just put their information, like they'll tell you, or they'll just, like not everybody, but a lot of people will put everything out on YouTube, and if you just compile like 10 different fishermen and take one thing from each one, a lot of the time you can kind of just make, and as long as, like, if you're not being hard-headed or anything like that a lot of people suffer from, you can just kind of fish, take the best from, like, even if it's just 3 people, and fish like that, and it can make a good blend.
Well, Ashley will tell you what he is doing. He will give you the bait that he's fishing, and then he will laugh and say, but you can't catch him.
I did that with him one time here.
Yeah.
He gave me one this morning. That'll probably be what happens tomorrow.
So we'll take a quick shout out. Give a huge shout out to the people who helped me do this journey. They haven't really sponsored the podcast. They do, I partner with them for my fishing journeys. Let's think, Lawrence, True Dave, boots and outfit wear. Use Thad Moody Outdoors for 15% off. Tactical Fishing Company, a huge shout out to them. Me and Charlie, we both partner with that company. Fantastic veteran-owned company. Use T Moody 10 for 10% off with them. And finally, a huge shout out to one of my newest partnerships is with Spear Point Hooks. Fantastically sharp hooks, fantastic company. They really take care of me. So I can't continue to do what I love to do without their help and assistance, because, again, as y'all know, fish has gotten expensive.
Yeah.
Well, if you have a tackle addiction like I do, it can be. And
it is contagious because I've caught it from you.
Yeah, for real.
Like,
I constantly say, I'm going to cut back. I'm going to cut back.
Well, when you have your garage sale, I want you to call me. We're going to come up there, all right?
Yeah. Yeah, because if that day ever comes, it's going to be a big sale.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, when I first started kayak fishing, I was fishing the Berkeley grass pig and the crawl that they have.
Ray's crawl?
Huh?
No, that's Strike.
No, that's Strike King Ray. I fished it some too. And I really caught more fish fishing, and the Rage Tail, the Strike King twin tail grub, Rage Tail, which is a great trailer. You can throw it on just a jig head, Texas rig it. It's a throw anything.
Texas rig.
You can keep it as simple as you want, or you can make it as complicated as you want. And, I've been dabbling around with Eagle Eye 9, the forward-facing sonar, and
you learn a lot. I've watched fish run from my crankbaits.
Right.
And then I
Oh,
watch next cast, same ones that ran, just turn around and smoke
I
it.
mean, you watch them. You pull a crankbait right through the middle of a school of fish, and they just divide like the Red Sea.
Yeah.
And when the bait goes through, they come back together. You're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
What the heck?
And
Well, I think what it does for me, I think anyone that fishes basic stuff is really connected to the environment. They read the water. You know, they're looking for points. They're looking for grass. Well, Carl Hudson will go out there. He can tell you how deep he's fishing because he'll throw something in, you know, with bottom dragging and count it off. Oh, yeah, it's 10 feet deep. He knows exactly the depth he's fishing. And then when you start using the forward-facing sonar or you start ramping up with electronics, it's almost like you're more aware of the surroundings because you realize really how many fish there are
Oh, yeah.
out there in the water, man,
You do when you're not staring at
that
the
you
screen.
can't catch.
Yeah.
Last 2 tournaments, I didn't even run my graph.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, front-facing sonar to me, you know, FFS, you'll see it a lot. It actually stands for freaking frustrating sonar. Cause look at all these fish. Why can't I catch one?
Yeah.
That's why I give the kudos to guys like, you know, Trey McKinney and Connell and Wheeler and them and Martin Jones Jr. who have mastered this thing. There ain't no plug and play. That's thousands and thousands of hours
It
behind
is.
that.
It takes time to master, and I mean, like I said, I'm just dabbling in it, and I do find it helpful because it basically narrows the area that I'm fishing. It
Yeah,
gives me a better location on where the fish actually are.
Yep, I use it a lot just to make sure there's no dead water.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And yeah, the forward facing, I haven't gotten into it yet, but I'm hoping to, and I've used it off of a couple people's boats and kayaks, and
Sit beside me and catching fish on my live scope in a tournament.
that I beat you in.
Yeah, he beat me in by one. I just needed one legal fish. I would have won it all.
Yeah. And
He
like
kept catching.
going back to the simplicity, like the simplicity and price of kayak fishing, you can really, like, I feel like you can go as expensive as you want. Like my kayak before electronics is like 6,000-7,000 for my setup, and or you could go,
He does have a nice motor. We'll say
Yeah.
that.
or you could just go like Carl Hudson. He has a Crescent, or and just that, and it's a great kayak, and he doesn't have a motor, fish finder, or anything, and you can either, and
can
he still
outfish you.
wins tournaments, and
And that's the thing about kayak fishing. It opens the door. You don't need a $50,000 boat. It opens the door to a lot of people to get started. I started with a $200 kayak I bought secondhand that I patched the hole in. That's how I got started.
Well, it's interesting to me. My mindset is 8-hour tournament. The more cast I make, the better chance I have to catch fish, which is really a fallacy
Yeah.
because it's really about fishing the right technique and slowing down, which I have a lot of trouble doing. And the longer I have fished, the harder time I have slowing down, because I equate something like throwing a chatterbait where you're constantly moving and throwing, and you know, to me, I like that. My mind doesn't do well if I'm just sitting somewhere dragging a bait or waiting on a fish to show up.
Yeah,
I don't-
I zone out when I'm slow fishing sometimes, and I miss them.
I'm guilty of it too, even though I know the behavior of the fish is not really going to warrant a good
Right.
bite.
Right.
Throwing a particular bait, I'm still throwing it anyway because
Yeah.
that's what I like to do.
That's what I do. I'm going to throw a chatterbait whether they bite it or not, because I like
Eventually,
throwing
one
chatterbait.
will bite it. Eventually.
And Carl Hudson, I bet you Carl does not have a reel over a 5-4 ratio.
yeah,
Probably not.
and
I think a lot of mine are 6s.
Yeah.
yeah, like for me, like I really have like that's why I'm good with the wacky rig, because I can just slow down and just kind of wait. But sometimes I'll get where I'm just casting.
Gotta move, gotta go.
My 2 favorite techniques are speed cranking and wacky rig, so kind of polar opposite.
But you don't see a lot of guys his age
Right.
speed cranking.
No.
Yeah.
No. And, you know, Matt Skelton, when I started fishing, Matt finesse fishing. He'll sit there on a point with a drop shot for 3 hours. Looks like a statue. I want to kill him. I went by him one day at Browns Creek. For 3 hours, he sat there on that one point. part of it was I was frustrated because I wanted to fish that spot, and Matt had it locked up. And I finally went by and I told him, I said, Matt, if I was an octopus and I had 8 arms, I'd come by here and slap you 8 times. Do something, man. He's like, I'm doing something, Russell. And he sat on Herb Parsons in the middle of the summer, hot as blue blazes, and pulled 3 out that went over 60 inches in about 15 minutes in the middle of the afternoon on one of the hottest days of the year. Just,
No.
man.
Well, I'll tell you, it ain't been up for me tomorrow that accidentally fall on my kayak at the end of it.
Oh, not a bad idea. So Charlie, what got you started kayak fishing?
Well, I've always really had a kayak, but I started fishing more, and then I got a kayak, and then bigger, like just a Pelican, like
Yeah.
$150 kayak.
Well, you think it was the freedom of getting off the bank and all your buddies
Yeah.
were standing on the bank fishing, and we did that with a cattle trough when
Yeah.
I was young. We'd throw a cattle trough, wood cattle trough, in the farmer's pond and paddle it around with a piece of wood.
Yeah.
You make all the old man jokes about me. You ain't said nothing about the 70-year-old over here fishing out of a cattle trough. Let that be known on camera.
Charlie thinks I fought in the Civil War.
But yeah, and then Thad, he started 4-H kayak and fishing, and the first tournament with that really, I never stopped
Just
swimming
connected
straight.
with
Like
you.
I just,
Yeah.
I
He
love
lost a bunch
the
of
tournament.
big fish because he was in that little bitty boat with a little bitty tiny metal
Yeah.
thing, and he came in third, but he should have been first by a mile.
But like I caught 6 fish like that were over like 2.5 pounds,
Oh,
and
well, good.
yeah, 3 pounds, and that was the best bite
Did
I'd
you grow
ever
up
been at.
fishing with your dad out of bass boats and stuff?
No, like we would bank fish occasionally,
Right.
like for brim. Like I liked fishing, but we would not get. We would go a couple times a year, and like if like I would go fishing in just ponds, but
Right.
not very often, and not
Yeah.
with none more than like a spin caster or something.
Well, when I grew up, we were fortunate that someone my age, we grew up in a different era where your parents didn't worry about you being gone all day. They expected it.
Yeah.
And we would get our rods and our BB guns, and there was a lake near our house that the owner didn't care if we hung out there all day. And that was the best childhood because we kept a cast iron skillet, some cornmeal, and some oil and salt and pepper down there. And we'd go to Western Auto and buy the cream worm with the spinner on it, the red beads, and the double hook. Now that's all we fished with. And we'd go down there and catch, we'd catch a mess of bass, and we'd have them fried up for lunch out there within 10 minutes of coming out of the water. And then we'd take a inner tube and take a bicycle inner tube and make a sling in it so we could sit in it, and that was our kayak fishing. That got us off the bank out in the lake, I mean, we had some good times out there. It was a good way to spend your childhood.
Oh yeah, I did similar to that. I had a guy down the road didn't care if I fished his lake, and that's why I've been fishing since I was itty bitty, fell in love with it. All right, well, I appreciate y'all having this fantastic conversation. I love just sitting around, and we're probably gonna see more podcast episodes like this. We talk some biology, why the lake like it is, but also there's monster bass swimming around, and they're just teasing us right now. We've been trying to catch them all afternoon. You'll probably see more podcasts like this. So it's just sitting back talking our experience with fishing, some of the biology
When a
aspects.
20-incher swims by.
I know some of the biology aspects around it, but just kind of learning too, because this is bassin and biology, so we got to cover the bassin part too.
There is so much biology. The behavior of fish out here is.
It's strange. Yeah.
Like, and that I feel like that side really makes good anglers. Like Drew Gregory, when you talk to him and hear him talk, how much research he does is and how many subspecies he studies.
You'd
crazy.
Be surprised how many tournament guys I've had call me on stuff in lakes in Mississippi and stuff like that. It's crazy. just wanting to know what species, what feeder species, what's actually there. Yeah. Well, guys, I thoroughly enjoyed this afternoon. Good luck to y'all tomorrow.
Same to y'all.
Not too much luck though. Yeah, but awesome. We'll have to do it again. I'm sure we'll fish again sometime soon.
We'll see y'all very early in the morning.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was 5 a.m. launch or 5 a.m. lines in.
Captain's meeting at 5 a.m. and then immediate after, you know, so we'll probably launch, I'd say, by 5:05. I mean, we can go ahead and have the kayaks in the water ready to go, but I think I need to watch the online video. I hadn't done that yet. All right.
I do have some questions.
Yeah.
What'd you win and catch them on?
Caught one on a pop bar, crazy fish, hit it 3 times, but I got it on the 3rd time. And then I switched up to a swing head jig with a Yamamoto peanut butter and jelly Senko. Caught the rest of them on that.
I got you.
Caught 4 good fish.
Boy, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. That's first place,
It's been
man.
a long time.
Yeah.
Long time, man.
Awesome. There you have it, guys. That's how he won it. Awesome. I'm going to put this in the original pod.